Hey guys, it's Dan.
It's Christian.
We're talking about Sony now. This is day 2. Got to meet up with Sony, got some really cool stuff, and we got some hands-on stuff to talk about too. Sony, what did you see today when they presented their keynote?
Okay, in the keynote, they kind of they didn't pay a whole lot of attention to their CEO. They had some really cool stuff going on in the background with some people with these pictures and things, and he was talking a lot. There were a couple products that we can get to before the big thing.
But, yeah, of course, the big thing is for us is Sony's PlayStation Now, which we'll cover again here in a few minutes. They had a new projector that does 4K projections using a wall. The projector is maybe yay big. It's very tiny, up close. I don't know if it's going to be a
really up close is the thing. We're talking 2 feet away from the wall and get a 104-inch picture out of it, 4K resolution. That's going to be pretty cool. It brings projectors back into relevance.
And they haven't been relevant for a very long time. A few people use them. They're hoping this catches the market back up. For commercial implications, it's infinite. For consumers, we'll see. Really, that was it. They talked about their old products, what didn't work, what did work. They even had an entire section on the Betamax, so real relevant. So I guess we can just move straight to the elephant in the room, which is PlayStation Now.
PlayStation Now. The idea. Originally they were talking about this in E3 when we were first getting PlayStation 4 information. They first said PlayStation 4 is not going to be backwards compatible. No PlayStation 3 games, no PlayStation 2 games, no PlayStation 1 games. But they were working with Gaikai to produce an online service that would give you access to these libraries, either through PSN or through... They didn't really discuss how that was going to work back in E3. Well, today, we found out how that's going to work. They've introduced PlayStation Now, which is a streaming service for all of that content, PS1, PS2, PS3 games. Big thing about it is it's an independent streaming service. You can, get the app, play it on your PlayStation 4, get the app, play it on your PlayStation 3, or do it completely independent of the Sony system. If you've got a Bravia, for example, if you've got a smart TV, you can play these PS1 and PS2 games off of this app. It's full streaming video game, which is something that is completely brand new. Shoot, the closest thing to streaming for video games we really have is playing a Flash game version of Mario.
Well, you have a couple of internet sites that provide Mario, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, maybe some 64 stuff, but this is a much bigger scale than what we've seen before.
Yeah, this is brand new. Streaming video games it's not something that we've done before. So, I'm really excited about this idea. This is a great idea. You can pay a monthly service. It's almost like Netflix. You're going to be able to stream from an entire library of PS1, PS2, PS3 games. I'm really excited. I think this is great. But the instant you start talking about streaming video game services, 2 things pop in my head as being very big potential problems right out the get-go. Number 1 is it's a paid service, so it's only worth it if there's content you want. So, what video games do you think they're actually going to have?
Well, they did announce 4. We have God of War Ascension, The Last of Us, Beyond Two Souls, and another game called Puppeteer that they aren't demoing really, but it is available and will be available at launch for the PlayStation Now.
Now, there's not a lot we can inference from this. Now back in E3, they actually mentioned that getting the content would take them some time, and they'd have to work on the licensing, and that's why this wasn't going to be available at the launch of the PlayStation 4. Well, today, they still haven't talked about any third-party support. The only games that they're demoing or talking about are SCEA titles, which makes it kind of, worrisome what video games are going to get to play. This whole service is supposed to go to beta at the end of January and hopefully live during the summer.
And we're supposed to have this here in literally 2 weeks, guys. And they have 4 games and no price tag associated with it.
Yeah, there's
an overbearing problem.
A little bit of a lack of information for this being it's going to be a closed beta, but still, I feel they'd have a little bit more for it. In the closed beta, though, even if they're just limited to the SCEA game titles, that still is going to give you things like the SOCOM series, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, God of War, the whole God of War series. There's some really good games out there that Sony directly helped produce. However, I would be very, very surprised if come beta you have access to anything from the Final Fantasy series, Call of Duty, anything from Grand Theft Auto. I just don't see that happening. They've really not given us indication that there's third-party support to this library.
And again, there's no third-party support jumping on this. They're going to have to go find that third-party support, and they obviously haven't worked out a good enough deal with paid subscriptions and to access those other IPs, those intellectual properties that they don't own, to put them on this service. That's a big mountain to climb.
But then again, this is all speculation. They haven't said anything. We're kind of assuming it's because they don't have it. The second thing that comes to mind when you're talking about streaming video games is there's nothing done on the front side. So the computer, your TV, your cell phone, they've said that you can probably stream these. They said you'll be able to stream these on the cell phone too, playing PS2 games on a cell phone. There's nothing front end. The cell phone, smart TVs don't have graphics capabilities to play PS2 games. They don't. It is strictly done on the server side in the cloud and streamed to you. My first question is input lag. You know, you're putting so much pressure on your ability to quickly communicate over those broadband networks for each individual piece of gameplay, for every single aspect of it. So I really worry about input lag as one of my first thoughts. Also quality, because the first thing you'd think of, every piece of data is transferring back and forth over network. Compression, how's that going to work out? I know with PS2 games, I imagine that's going to work out pretty well. PS3 games is really where that becomes kind of an issue. What's it going to look like?
Well, thankfully, we got our hands on it today, and it unfortunately was what we expected.
Every single one of those problems does seem to be exactly as bad as what we did. We did get to demo it at Sony's demo station, and input lag.
Input lag was substantial and noticeable. Even the Sony employees that were there demoing it with us, that were not the engineers, were complaining about it. And the engineers were pissed. That's just to be straightforward. They were very upset with things not working correctly. There's a cap to the visual output as well. They can only do 720p. That's as far as it can go. That's a little disappointing. That makes it very relevant that you still own a PS3. They will look better on your PS3. But this is a start.
As far as the visual quality goes, yes. If you really care about how those games look, artifacting, textures, color quality, it's all reduced. Playing God of War Ascension, it looked a little better than God of War 2, I guess. You do take quality. You do take the quality hit, for sure. I think that the graphical quality hit that you take through streaming doesn't necessarily make it unplayable. I think that you'll have an effect on your enjoyability if that's a big thing to you. I know that it is a thing for me. The texture quality, it's reduced.
I think my one argument in this area is that they started this resolution war, that it was something that Sony and Microsoft together helped push the resolution amongst your TV, and now they seem to be sidestepping it a little bit due to ease of access. So I understand the compromise, but a lot of people here at CES, and you can tell by the frustration from the engineers that were helping part of this development, don't seem to see that. They seem that they're unconvinced that this can produce a well thought out product.
To be honest with you, some of the people at the Sony booth, I think they were just annoyed that they had to keep dealing with people, because they probably all had the same questions and the same comments.
We had two of them before us, generally the same concept. Hey, this has a really bad lag. Hey, this doesn't look as good as I expect. And I think it was wearing them thin.
But in general, I think Sony was mad that we were there. They don't like me very much. It could be very much the fact that this is still just in a developmental phase. I don't know how much left they have for developmental phase, though, if they want to take this to beta into weeks. While I don't think the compression, the graphical reduction is really the thing that makes the game unplayable, input lag is. Plain and simple. It's too much. You just can't have that much input lag.
Well, the video we'll put up later, it's not a very quality video, but it was Last of Us on the PS Vita from the PlayStation 3, and the input lag from their servers here in Vegas not responding.
Well, no. As far as what we were demonstrating, they claimed that was the live service. That they just had
Yes.
Sony Bravia out there, a smart TV is what we were playing it on. No PlayStation 3 there to interface it, and they claim that it was streaming from the cloud service, the live cloud service that they're utilizing. So they claim that they didn't have a dummy setup where they had a server sitting in the back of a room that it was communicating with wirely. That's a word. That they said that wasn't what they were doing. That it was the live service. I suppose that if they were doing this on some sort of like dummy service, they would have made it so that there was no input lag. So I believe them.
Very obvious they were trying, I suppose. And again, this is a service that's supposed to be up this summer. It's just not going to beta, and the engineers feel very happy with what they have, so I don't know what to expect. This is something we're definitely going to keep our eye on.
I mean, to be honest with you, this is video game streaming. We're streaming PlayStation 3 games. There's no content. There's really not much to cache, and there's nothing done by the product sitting in front of you. It's all server side. This is an immense jump in what we can do with internet technology, and I can understand that there's still some input lag. Maybe with some more technology they can fix that, but it's not there. To do this sort of thing, you have to be able to perform some of the just some of the work for the game has to be done on the system in front of you. I guess there is one good thing though about it all being on one side. On the lag side is that all the lag comes from input lag. There's never going to be any rubber banding. You don't have to deal with hit detection being off because of timing and lag. It's all going to be input lag. So when you watch, yourself punch something in the face, it's actually going to get punched in the face. But you have to actually figure out how to make that happen with all this input lag that's happening on it. It is unplayable at this moment. That is the unfortunate truth. It is unplayable.
You got to understand, this is one of the biggest things we're excited for. This will be huge if they can fix it. This is one of the biggest things coming out of the video game industry in a while. They just got to make it work. We have full faith eventually this will happen. Right now we are cautious, but I feel optimistic. This is a great service that will be out there for PlayStation owners. They just got to fix the bugs, and there are a lot of necessary fixes.
Let's face it, Sony spent $3.8 billion or some astronomical number to obtain Gaikai. They're not just working with them; they own the entire company. So
that number might have been slightly exaggerated, but they had quite a bit of money.
Quite a bit enough. Well, that's what they told me. I don't know. Yeah. People are lying to me. I can't. But they spent a lot of money to acquire this. There is some value to what they have. And Sony's not just going to brush it under because they come up with something that not too many people are actually buying into when it launches. If that's the case, they're going to fix it. I do have faith in it. And ultimately, the idea of being able to stream entire libraries of PS1, PS2, and PS3 games is fantastic. And I can't wait for this to be a working thing.
Yeah, that's where we'll leave you guys. Catch you on the next one.
See you in a month.